Center Training Camp Live from out here in Ashburn. You are checking the views from the field as practice is set to get underway. And this is a big one, fellas, because Dan Quinn said it yesterday. Our boys are going to be scrimmaging.
Yeah.
Oh, I think our producers tell you got to pick in your ear, big dog.
No,
he's making me nervous.
If you know Tanner, he keep that pick in his ear.
And you know what? That's just because he want to stay clean for the best fans in the world. Brian Comer Jr. here with Brian Mitchell, Santana Voss, Fred Smoot, and Sean Springs. Logan Paulson is standing by with head coach Dan Quinn. But fellas, like I said, it's scrimmage time.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
Scrimmages are kicking off. What was that like for y'all when y'all knew, okay, yes, preseason's coming, but we got a little time. It's time to scrimmage against each other.
It was always fun for me. You know, I always wanted to compete, whether it's my teammates or somebody else. And I understand 10 days in between one preseason game to the next. Dan wanted to keep them in,
keep their blood
interested.
going.
Keep them going. So it's a good move.
One thing about scrimmaging, you get a chance to kind of gauge where the guy's at, that week. I mean, normally you don't anticipate having to go out there and do that. But like B just said, when you have this much time, you want to say, okay, let me see if I need to sit a guy or two, this upcoming game, or do I need to play the whole team?
Yep. It's competition. That's what it's about. Like coming off a preseason game, I want to see the guys really get serious about they art and they training. And I think that's what you do. You just coming off the practices against the Patriots. You have the scrimmage here. You go play against the Bengals. Then you got another practice set up with another team.
Go.
And now it's just competition over and over again. He getting ready for the regular season, I think.
And coming off a preseason game, you always got a teammate that's going to go hard out
Yeah.
there. You already know. You already know if you out there scrimmaging that when Fred talked about competition, it's going to be some hitting. It's going to be working on the little things that we messed up on during the game. Let's correct it this week. Let's see how we can put
physicality.
it.
I think that's what it's about. Physicality,
Right
for
there,
sure.
right there.
Let's swap a little paint.
There you go.
And that's what it's all about. Our guys, Fred Smoot and Sean Spring, will be on the sideline watching the guys swap some paint. And we got some special stuff going. We'll be covering this scrimmage, so make sure you stay tuned to the Commanders YouTube page. But first things first, we got to send it down to our guy, Logan, who's standing by with head coach Dan Quinn. It's time for Built for This, presented by Clark Construction, the official construction partner of the Washington Commanders.
Coach, this is kind of an exciting thing you got going today, this Burgundy and Gold scrimmage. What gave you the idea, and what gave you the idea?
Well, we had a good long block between a Friday night game and a Monday night game. So I thought in between, how would we have a joint practice, just with ourselves? We want to develop the coaches, we want to develop the players, so putting people into some new roles, split up the coaches, personnel, training, equipment. So everybody's on different sides. I want to see the leveling up of that. And then on the field, I want to hear communication, normal things you want to hear at practice. So it'll feel like and look like a practice, but I want to make sure officials here mark it off if there's a foul, like the consequences of good and bad ball. And so it's a good op for us to do it. I'm glad it came up in this space, and then to be able to do it here and have the families here doing it, pretty cool thing.
That's fantastic. And one thing you said there that I thought was interesting is the development of coaches. Can you talk more about that? Because I think people think, it's for the players, but the coaches have developmental career arcs as well.
That's right. And all of them are working on some things to get better at, whether you're like in an entry level, you're going to the next spot, you're trying to be a position coach or a coordinator or become a head coach. So having a couple days in that seat can give new vision, new insights. And so I like that we put them into that spot. And so today gives us good insights on the players and coaches, and we'll have a hell of a time.
That'll be awesome. And so obviously, what's the thing you're most excited to see today? Is it players? Is it coaches? What do we got?
Yeah, I think I want to see the coaches and the players interact. They're in different spots, different play callers. And so you see the energy now from the players to the other coaches. And so there's a lot of fun that goes with that. And so I just think it's really important that you don't lose sight that everybody's developing, myself included. And if you take that on as an attitude, say, can we take it further? Can we get better? You have to go through times like this to do that. And so why talk about it? You got to go be about it and put people in spots to say, go do it, make mistakes. The scoreboard's on, but it's not really on. So we have to find out ways that they can learn and grow, and it's an important part of our development.
Coach, really excited. Good luck today. Can't wait to watch it.
All right, thanks.
That was our head coach, Dan Quinn, with the legend, Logan Paulson. And a legend in the making right there, Jaden Daniels, warming up, getting ready for practice, but also getting ready before a scrimmage, fellas, Corey Cross-Camara was walking down, and he said, it's all about the gold team today. So competition is already picking up. Now, B, you were out there with me in New England covering our first preseason game. And what do you want to see from the team today after what we saw these last few days?
Well, I want to see what I saw in the practice against New England. I want to see the offensive line and defensive line dominate. I know the starters were on the sideline, but those second teamers and third teamers have to understand the energy that goes into it, the intensity that goes into it. In the game, I noticed that I felt New England had a little bit more oomph than we did. I want to see that out here. Yeah, if you're going against your teammates, but still, if you go out there and give them a good look, they get a good look, and they give you one back. Going out there and not giving all your effort makes no sense, especially when the team has not been solidified yet. Yeah. You still have a few spots that somebody can fill. So you got to go out there and try to get that.
And one of the things about this practice, too, I mean, you're going to have periods like today where coach is going to test you to see how your mind is right now. You know, certain guys, especially after last week's performance in that preseason game, you want to see those guys who didn't really go out there and perform well, how they bounce back in practice. So this is the best. I think this is the best way to gauge these guys this week, to say, okay, let's have a scrimmage amongst each other before we get into this preseason game so I can see where your head at.
And B, as a competitor, even though you're going against your team, a scrimmage is a little different than just that regular practice, man. How does that intensity amplify, and how does that affect you and your teammates?
Well, you still have to be smart. You know, it's your teammates, but bragging rights matter, okay? I want to be in that locker room, so when I look across the locker room, you got to drop your head a little bit. And you want to make sure you do the right things. And the thing about it is, when you come to the end of this thing, you're trying to get the best 53 as far as the roster, and then the next 17 practice squad guys that you can get. It's 90 guys out there. All right, 20 of them not going to be around. And the 70 that you keep, you want to make sure it's the best out there.
And Tanner, as the leader, right, and as a veteran, after a game like we had, this first preseason game, where maybe it felt like the energy was a little low, how do you go in as the leader, as the veteran, and set that tone on the field for these guys?
It's different strokes for different folks. You get guys like London who's probably going to address the defense and tell those guys how we look. We can't have that kind of, a performance, or we can't look like that. And then you got guys like myself who's going to go out there and I'm going to show. I'm going to go out there with the same intensity that I had the week before. Even if I didn't play with those guys, I'm going to go out there and lead those guys as if, hey, this is how we got to go. And when you set the tone for your core group, those guys are going to fall in line. Those guys are going to see this is how we practicing today. So, and then also, too, when you have a few guys that you know that you can sit down and talk to, like I would never call a guy out. I would always go in the guy's ear like, look here, man, we got to do this. Win your reps, win your downs. You know what I mean? I would tell a guy to, because I was one of those guys that the coaches to come to and say, hey, man, I ain't like what I saw of this person or that person. So I would go privately and tell them, hey, man, you know what I mean? This is what I heard, so it's on you. And so that's what you do. You let them know, but then you also, lead by example.
And we know that there's going to be a lot of leading by example there. Dan Quinn going to get these guys ready to go. Again, we have a scrimmage today. Fellas, after what y'all seen so far, what position groups are y'all looking at in today's scrimmage?
I think for me it's D-line. I think not only so just looking at them for as, what we're going to see today, it's just going forward into this second preseason game for us. That's the game that kind of determines, how many reps you'll see from the first guys, second guys. We know what went on last year, with stopping the run, and now you got a guy in Wise Jr. here. You have Ken Law. I would love to see those guys together. Ken Law, Wise, Payne, Newton, all those guys. I want to see those guys playing as a core. We saw Newton jump off the page in preseason game 1. I was kind of, surprised to see him out there, as much as he was. So I'm going to love to look at these guys today in this scrimmage to see what our D-line do, especially going forward to the second preseason game.
And I'm looking at the receivers. I mean, I understand that the story of Terry is what it is, but still, what if? As Cliff stated earlier this year, what if we have to go with this situation? We want to see which guys can step up. And there are young guys stepping up right now who's starting to get more and more consistent. Can those guys stick? Even if Terry comes back right now, you still want depth. So I'm looking at that, and also the defensive backs. You know what? Because that's another thing that we were looking for last year. And I believe right now, they are playing. Marshawn Lattimore being healthy now. You have Trey Amos in there. Igbenogany is playing some good ball. You got Sarah still. These guys now are showing that they can be good and have some depth. So I'm looking at those two units.
And Commanders family, the fellas and I will be previewing the offense a little later in the show. However, our guys are on the sideline right now. That's Logan, Fred, and Sean, ready to break down and give you a closer look at practice right now. Fellas, y'all got it.
Thanks, Brian. Guys, when I was with Dan in Atlanta, we used to do this. It was red-black scrimmage. Here it's burgundy and gold. Dude, I used to love this, man. It was just it's like a nice way to break up training camp. Yeah. Every day is the same thing. Here's like kind of a nice little gift. Did you guys do anything like this when you played here?
Yeah, with Coach Gibbs, most definitely. With Coach Schottenheimer,
really?
Most definitely. It's going to be ones against ones. They want tempo. They want physicality. They want to check us. This is a gut check right here.
Well, actually, we did it before the first preseason game, so I actually like this structure a little better. But we did it the first preseason game to kind of get you ready for hitting before the game and get you through the game routine of coming out of the locker room, stretching, and going through all the routines.
Did you guys find that was helpful to kind of get you ready for that first
I liked it that
way. Mentally, it stimulated me to the point where, like, competition, like we used to go to Baltimore, do them, then we'll come back, and then we'll scrimmage each other. Right. I think it's one thing for them to do is they want to cross those T's and dot those I's and see who is what and what situation they can put them in.
Well, and I also think it's probably a really good opportunity to be like, hey, like we had a little bit of a penalty issue in the game the other day.
Yeah.
And again, Dad had this plan for a long time, so that's not why he's doing it. But like, it's a good way to be like, hey, our formation's good, our penalty's good. Are we
got the refs out of here?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it just seems like a good way to kind of make sure that stuff's
like he
checked
said,
in.
he can take
he
can take the physical penalties. He can't take the pre-snap penalties.
Right. Yeah.
Like, that's what I think he wants to get on hand right now. He wants them to understand it. We cannot kill ourselves when it comes to penalties.
And this gives you opportunity to tackle, right? We didn't tackle like we wanted to.
We did not tackle
it.
So this gives you opportunity, and you try not to hurt your teammates, but it's a little more than a thud. It's a little more shoulder pads, helmet. We like to say it's swapping paint. Swap a little paint at practice. So the line, O-line,
did he swap paint?
No.
Yeah, we did. We had
we had
Mike Barbecue made you.
No. We did. But that's the good thing about it is, man. To be good at football, you got to play football. Yeah. And they look like they haven't been taking people to the ground in their first game. This gonna take that to the next level and say, you know what? We need to get better at tackling. We need to get better at the physicality. We need to get better at the point of attack. This gives you a chance to assess that and assess your players also.
I think that's a great point, Fred. People forget that they did not tackle prior to that preseason.
No, they did not.
Yeah, and so like this is a great opportunity to kind of, hey, so let's work on that craft a little bit, work on that skill. So in today's practice, what are you guys most excited to see?
Yeah, actually, I want to see D-line versus the offensive line.
Okay.
I'm all about trench warfare. If you're going to be great in this league, you're going to have to be great in the trenches. I think we got one of the best offensive lines assembled. When you look at the group that we have, I think we got bigger at the point of attack when it comes to the defensive line. So I'm all about the trench warfare. I want to see that divine swine, a.k.a. the wild boars.
Oh, that's good, man.
The wild boars. I want to see the divine swine go against these guys, go against the Kinlaws of the world. I want to see that battle.
And that leads to the run front. We talk about fits. Like, that's what's important, right? When it's one thing to have, like, we just missed tackles in the open field, especially on special teams, is different thing. But it's another thing, get used to those fits live, because now the double teams are different. How the linemen are double teaming on the 3 technique or the nose or whatever, and how the ends are shedding and blocking. Really, the linebackers, Frankie and these guys.
Playing off of those guys.
Playing off those guys up front.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait to watch Javon Kinlaw today, man.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see what he's got, man. And there's so many things that we're all excited to see, and we're going to be back here in a little bit. But in the meantime, BC, take it away.
Thank you, fellas, for being out there on the field of In That Heat. Boy, Fred look hot, don't he? Now, we will have more from the crew on the sideline later in the show, but I'm here with possibly the best cook in Virginia, Brian Mitchell. So it's time for us to cook. Let's cook, presented by Pepsi, the official soft drink of the Washington Commanders. And as we prepare for Cincinnati, this scrimmage today is a very, very big deal, especially because we have so much time, right? We don't play Cincinnati until next Monday. So a scrimmage like this, Tanner, where you're looking at still a young quarterback and technically a pretty new wide receiver room, and how beneficial are these scrimmages for that chemistry?
I think it's very, man. I think you can't get enough reps with these young receivers that we have. I think also when you have a guy like Terry that's not here, every day somebody's getting an opportunity. Someone should be coming out here that's saying, I care less what they do with 1-7. I'm hoping he's here, but this is my chance. This is my time.
Exactly.
And I've been seeing a guy that flash like that. 16, Brooks he's been flashing from day one in camp all the way into that first preseason game. So when you get these opportunities, and then you got a guy like McCaffrey who they're giving a lot of reps to, showing that he can be very versatile playing X, Z, and in the slot. So it's one of those moments, man, where I'm hoping somebody take it by the claw and say, hey, this is my chance to make the squad.
And B, something we've heard a lot about, especially from Dan Quinn, is the maturity of Jaden Daniels. Not just on the field, but as a leader. We've seen him take strides as a leader.
Yes.
How can we see him take a stride as a leader today? He did not play in the last preseason game. However, this scrimmage, he'll be active.
Well, just like the reporters in New England said, he was surgical.
Yes.
And I want to see the same thing. The thing about him is, I think he comes out here every day, and people say it a lot, to get 1% better.
Yeah.
If he just goes out there and get 1% better, whether it's in a leadership role, it's reading the defense, or whatever it is, I think it's going to be perfect. That kid doesn't care about accolades. He cares about production today, this moment, and if he goes out there and make his team better, you watch him, he throw a pass, if he's not in the right spot, he goes to the receivers and let them know. If they're not in the right spot, he goes to talk to them in a gentle way to let them know where he wants them to be. Then the next time they come along, they have success. I just want to see him keep doing the things he's been doing. He seems to be doing it right.
And Tanner, you've been in the shoes of a Deebo Samuel before,
Yeah.
where you're that veteran coming in, showing guys how to get it done. What do you want to see from Deebo today, and what kind of example is he going to set out today in there in this
What I've been seeing from day one, I think Deebo has that mindset. Is it's almost like he's not saying it, but he's almost at that point to where he has to prove something. You know, and personally, he might not come into this particular, scrimmage today or this practice or this training camp period with that kind of chip on his shoulder. But any and everybody that's ever changed the team, you want to prove to your teammates, more so than anybody else, to your teammates that you're that guy. You're worthy of being here with him. So I know Deebo's gonna be Deebo. I actually watch him on the field and I just smirk because I know how many people has been on his back about what happened to him last season. And you got to think about it. The guy had pneumonia last year. So that's one of those extras I put by a season because anytime you go through something where you're ill, whether it's a hurt ligament or hurt, anything, when you're not yourself, it's impossible to go out there and be productive. And I'm looking forward to him to get back on that horse this year.
And fellas, we got to see a glimpse of this running game in our preseason game. We know it's all about competition during training camp. I don't know if there are hungrier guys on this roster than that running back room. We got guys like Felton, Ja'Cory Krosky, Merritt. We got to see B. Mitch. What are you looking for from our running backs during this scrimmage?
I'm looking for every guy to go out there and give us as close to or the best they can be.
Yeah.
B-Rob, he seems faster this year, seems hungrier. And I would be agitated by a lot of ignorance that people have been saying around here. B-Rob, I want to see him come out there and show what he's capable of. Eckler got hurt last year sometimes, but when he was healthy, we saw how good he can be. You got Bill. Okay, Bill is coming here, a guy who got screwed by the NCAA, and now already showing people what he's capable of. Rodriguez. We have all types of guys on this running back roster that got stuff to prove. And I think the offensive linemen also, because it goes with them. If they can go out there and road grade a little bit and give those guys linebackers to deal with, I don't think either one of them will be at a disadvantage when they come up to any one of our linebackers as good as our linebackers are. They go one-on-one with them, they should be able to make a miss. So I wanted to see them get as close to what they're capable of as possible.
And Taylor, one thing that stood out to me while on the sideline of our preseason game was the size we have at tight end.
Yeah.
We talked a lot about Zach Ertz, but outside of that, we haven't had a lot of conversations about those tight ends. I know you enjoy some of those boys out there. What do you want to see from our tight ends today?
Just I want to see these guys, somebody kind of get into that slot of saying, I'm going to be behind the guy. You know what I mean? When you're on a team, you can easily say, okay, this is our guy. Like Zach has been that guy everywhere he's been. And we know Senate, we're waiting for him to come around and kind of like hold on to whatever, it is for him to, say, hey, I'm the proven guy or I'm going to be the next man up. But I feel like it's a void there. It's a void saying that it's either going to be Zach and who else. And I'm looking forward to each and every time they step on the field that somebody shows some kind of sign, someone flash and say, you know what, if you don't want it, I'm going to be that guy to take it.
And Jonathan Bates, we have Ben Sinnott, a second-round pick. Bates just got the bag. But when you look at a guy like Ertz, we were over at that joint practice, and I even saw a Patriot supporter saying it. Zach Ertz looks faster.
Yeah.
He looks smoother in his routes.
Yeah.
An improved Zach Ertz, B. Mitch, off of what we saw last year, man, that's pretty scary.
That would be scary. I think about it. I heard him talking, and he said that he's changed the way he worked out over the last 3 years. And I know, Tanner, you talk a lot about when you have people taking care of you.
Yep.
But when you get, and I think also Von Miller discussed this, as you get older, you can think the game.
Yeah.
You know better. And I think Zach now with a little bit more energy than he had last year and that experience, that's going to be a problem for some defenses. He knows how to use his body. He has a kind of a basketball feel when he gets there and box people out and get the ball. And Jaden gets it on him real quick. But the fact that he's a little swifter this year, Gonna be a major problem.
And guys
for
like
some of those linebackers out there.
and guys like Zach just keep getting lucky. When you get a guy like Jaden Daniels throwing to you, man, like I will change everything too about how I get prepared because I know that ball is coming. You know what I mean?
Zach Ertz said, I wish I could have played with Jaden Daniels
I swear.
my entire career. Why would I not come back and run it back with JD5? Now, we have had a fun show so far. But before we end, let's send it back to our guys out on that field, out on this heat, with some Money Views. It's time for Money Views, presented by Bank of America, the official bank of the Washington Commanders. It's y'all, fellas.
Thanks, Brian. And thanks, Brian, but not thanks, Brian. Because Brian really only just talked about the offense with Tan and B. Mitch. Those are offensive guys, right? And I'm an offensive guy, but the star of training camp so far, in my opinion, has been this defense, man. They have played outstanding. Fred, you talked earlier about the defensive line specifically. I just look at that group. They're out there right now. They're the gold. The gold team has the starting defensive line. I see Kinlaw. I see Payne. I see Wise. They look different.
They look
enormous. Fred, why are you excited about that group?
Well, I am, because if you go back to the NFC Championship game, the one thing we saw in that game was we lost the trench warfare. We got pushed around. So guess what we did this offseason? We went and got bigger. Like we got Kinlaw.
Huge.
Like we get Kinlaw. We went and got Wise. We went and got guys. Now we got like an 8-man rotation that anybody can start, anybody can play, anybody's. I think when you look at them, they want to win on first down, so we earn the right to rush the passer on third down, and that's what we got right now.
And when you talk about body types, when you got long, athletic, it makes a difference when you see them. Like, they look big, and it makes a difference. And what I like is that Newton, he's the one guy who's like, when you see him beside Kinlaw, he's like, he's not that big, but he's
low center of gravity.
Low center of gravity, first up play. They all play well with their hands, and then the linebackers, they're like one unit. The front and the front seven is playing fluid, playing together. So it's pretty impressive to see the way that front seven.
And I like how Coach divided it up. I like the teams. It's not like one team is heavier than the other one. So I think the competition really gonna stick out here, because that's what it's about. Like, y'all understand, when we was out here playing, like, we was tired of going against each other. But when Coach ratcheted it up and give it a title and say it's a scrimmage, now the eye in the sky don't lie. So you don't want to put nothing bad on film right here. So everybody's gonna be on their best right now.
Fred, you talked about that first offensive line, how they've improved. You talked about the defensive line, how they've improved. I can't wait to watch that matchup today. Right?
That's where it's going to happen.
Because they're tackling to the ground today. Like, I want to see if Kinlaw, all those pressures he's made, if that works, right? If Von Miller's actually creating sacks, man. Those are things that I cannot wait to see today.
Well, the thing about Von Miller is he unlocks everybody else. Like, people going to look at his sack total at the end of the year, and I'm going to say, don't look at his sack total. Look at the group. And his presence unlocks everybody else, because he's the alert guy. When the team comes to the line, they're alerting Von Miller, but guess what? Frankie Louvu is coming off the other side. Colin Farrell is coming off the other side.
So you're saying, who do you double team?
Who do you double team? Like, what do you do? The question is going to be up to the offensive coordinator and the head coach. How y'all going to try to stop us? And I think that variety, that size gives us a chance to play.
To your point, you have to earn their right on third down. You got to get these teams in long, third and long. So first down is going to be important, and I believe we don't necessarily have to blitz like last year, like we did on.
But that's why we got bigger to win first down. If you win first down, now it's second and long, gives you a chance to have third and 7, gives you a chance to say, all right, now let's rush.
You know what I'm happy about? I can't believe he talked about the D line and O line like this, because this guy didn't even know his teammates' names.
And first of all, I always knew everybody on the team name, all 53 guys. I always knew them.
So obviously we can't wait to watch this scrimmage. It's fun hanging out with you guys. We can talk defense all day.
Hey, you're honorary corner, man.
That's what I'm talking about. BC, back to you, buddy.
Shout out to our guys for holding it down at practice. And you know what, Commanders family? Football is back at Northwest Stadium for the remainder of the preseason. That's right. August 18th, we'll be on prime time, Monday Night Football, for our Week 2 preseason matchup against the Cincinnati Bengals. Then August 23rd at 12 p.m., we'll be back at the crib for Week 3 preseason, taking on the Baltimore Ravens. Now, fellas, like I said, we have the scrimmage. Now, we're not going to show the scrimmage because, you know, other teams could be watching. Philly's always watching our stuff, so we can't do that. However, we will still be giving you exclusive access to players. We'll be breaking down what we saw, so make sure you stay tuned to the Commanders YouTube page for that exclusive access for the Burgundy and Gold scrimmage. Fellas, what a fun show today, man. It cooled down a little bit. I was melting.
It wasn't fun early.
It was not.
Tell my back there.
The sun was on our neck and our back.
For Mr. 8 to the 9, Santana Moss, for future Hall of Famer Brian Mitchell, For the legend Logan Paulson, the mouth of the South, Fred Smoot, and my guy, Sean Springs, I am Brian Colbert Jr. Until scrimmage time, baby. We out.